The NBA world is in shock. The biggest trade in history just dropped, and something feels off.
What would you just say to fans who are frustrated about this move?
Luka Doncic traded for Anthony Davis. Just let that sink in. Here's what the NBA wants you to believe. The Mavericks were frustrated with Luka's conditioning, and they thought Anthony Davis's defense would finally make them champions. That's the story they're selling. But if we've learned anything over the years, it's this. Official stories don't always tell the whole truth. And this one, something doesn't add up.
The most shocking, stunning, insane trade in NBA history happened, and it makes absolutely no sense for so many different reasons.
Naturally, I started digging. I searched everywhere, read everything I could find. And the deeper I went, the clearer it became. The numbers, the timing, the behind-the-scenes moves, it all pointed to one thing. This trade was a scam. And today, we're exposing exactly why.
You know, I've been in the NBA for 40 years. You never trade stars for stars.
Well, let's be clear. I'm the one making the decision, and Jay's supportive of it. So it's me.
Ladies and gentlemen, does that sound like the kind of guy who makes franchise-altering decisions that reshape a billion-dollar organization? I don't think so. And then he claims this all started over coffee a few weeks ago, when he and Rob Pelinka casually asked, "Would you ever do this type of questions?"
And Rob and I were able to have, really intense conversations over the course of, 3 or 4 weeks that started out as a coffee that, was more, hey, would you ever, I don't know, would I? Let me think of, and then it.
Before we get into the behind-the-scenes theories, let's break down why this trade makes absolutely no sense and why the numbers just don't add up. First off, Luka just led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals. He's entering his prime, and since his rookie season, he's been a perennial MVP candidate, earning first-time All-NBA honors every single year. He's not just one of the best players in the league, he's one of the most marketable, the face of the Mavericks, and the franchise cornerstone. The entire team was built around him. By every measure, he was untouchable. And yet, instead of testing the market, igniting a bidding war, or even assessing Luka's true value, Mavericks GM Nico Harrison wants us to believe that one of the biggest trades in NBA history began over coffee with a casual "would you ever" conversation with Rob Pelinka just a few weeks ago. He expects us to believe that he didn't consult anyone, not even head coach Jason Kidd.
We kept it between us. We had to keep it tight. Jay Kidd didn't know about it.
He wants us to believe that the trade happened because he wasn't sure if Luka would sign a Supermax contract, even though Luka never gave a single indication that he wanted to leave.
Nico, did you have any indication from him or his representation that he was going to opt out or not take the extension or anything like that?
No, not at all. Not at all. Nothing verbally that would lead me to believe that.
Why would the Supermax be a difficult decision on your end?
Oh no, it's not a matter of it being a difficult decision. It's a matter of, once you put that out there, they accept or they don't, and at that point you're on the clock.
Honestly, I have no idea what he's trying to say here. I mean, how else do you make an offer but put it out there? Anyway, and his defense for pulling off this blindsiding move was defense wins championships?
And, we think defense wins championships.
If Nico Harrison had just let the entire NBA know the Mavericks were willing to trade Luka, they could have gotten far more than what they settled for. And that's what makes this so suspicious. Yes, we're talking about Anthony Davis, but let's be real. He's 31, injury prone, and past his peak, while Luka is 25, entering his prime, and one of the NBA's golden boys. Just look at the Rudy Gobert trade. If a player like Gobert could command multiple first-round picks and key role players, there's no way the Mavericks couldn't have gotten a better offer. In a 3 or 4-team deal, they easily could have walked away with more assets. But instead, the deal quietly happens with the Lakers. And when you consider that Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka's relationship goes back over 2 decades, this trade isn't just questionable, it's flat out suspicious. But hold on, because things get even more suspicious. LeBron James, or Le GM, as some call him given his track record of orchestrating teams, claims he was completely blindsided by the trade.
We now welcome in Dave McMenamin, who's been covering the Lakers for 13 years. And Dave, how did LeBron James find out about this deal and what was his reaction?
Reports say that he was out to dinner with his family when the news broke and that he was surprised, had no idea it was coming, and is still processing it. Yeah, that's a load of baloney. Nothing happens in Laker Nation without LeBron at least knowing about it, if not outright influencing it. I mean, this is LeBron we're talking about. He's controlled almost every major roster move since arriving in LA. For example, he handpicked his podcaster buddy for a head coaching job. He secured his NBA unready son a roster spot on the most prestigious franchise in basketball. And let's not forget, he personally shut down a trade that could have brought DeMar DeRozan and likely Buddy Hield to the Lakers, 2 players who would have been perfect fits at the time. And now we're supposed to believe he had no clue this was happening? Come on. Fans weren't buying it either, saying, "Isn't it strange that LeBron, with all his connections, was caught off guard? You gotta be dumb as to believe this for even a millisecond." Of course he knew. That's why he made it a point to organize a family outing instead of vibing with the teammates after the game. There's even more suspicions about this, like Adam Silver's pressure to boost NBA ratings, the Mavericks' new ownership and their business ties, and the fact that this trade came out of nowhere. All of it raises questions. But let's move past the suspicions. It's time to break down the top theories on why this trade really happened. The ones they don't want us to know. One theory floating around is that Nike played a role in this trade. Luka is already a huge asset for Nike sneaker sales. He's a superstar, but placing him in Los Angeles, one of the biggest markets in sports, elevates his brand to an entirely new level. For Nike, it's a strategic power move, one that keeps their brand firmly at the top of the sports world. But what's in it for the Mavericks, you might ask? Well, some point to Mavericks GM Nico Harrison, who spent 19 years at Nike before taking over in Dallas. The theory suggests that he still has a financial stake in the company, maybe in stocks or other incentives, and that making a move that benefits Nike could mean a nice golden parachute for him when he eventually heads back to Oregon. It's an interesting idea, but I don't completely buy it, not on its own. Something this obvious would be easy for the league to catch, and the Mavericks owners wouldn't just let it slide. No, if there's something shady going on here, it probably goes even higher. And that brings us to the next layer of theories. If Mark Cuban were still in charge, there's no way he'd trade Luka. He even once joked he'd rather divorce his wife than move him. But Cuban sold most of his stake last year, and here's where it gets interesting. The new ownership group has deep connections to Las Vegas. Some fans believe their long-term goal is to relocate the Mavericks to Vegas, rebranding them as the Las Vegas Mavericks. But the only way Adam Silver and the NBA would greenlight such a massive move? Send Luka to the Lakers first. This theory suggests that while pairing Luka with LeBron doesn't guarantee a championship, the real impact is bigger than basketball. A trade like this skyrockets ratings, boosts league's revenue, and aligns perfectly with the Dallas owners' new business plans, making it a win-win-win for the Lakers, the NBA, and the people pulling the strings. I came across a fan comment that suggests what's happening right now isn't unique to the Mavericks. It's part of a large pattern across major North American sports leagues. It goes like this. The new ownership wants something, most likely something financial. If the city doesn't give it to them, which, according to this fan, could be a new arena with a casino attached to it, they intentionally sabotage the fan base. And in this case, that meant trading their golden boy. Attendance then starts to drop, the team struggles, and suddenly there's a justification to relocate to another city that will give them everything they want. And isn't this exactly what just happened with the Oakland A's? This isn't just about basketball. It's about Las Vegas, an NFL team, an NHL team, and now an NBA team? A move like this skyrockets Vegas's influence in the sports world, boosting everything from tourism to business deals to major sponsorships. And here's the kicker. The majority owners, the Adelson and Dumont family, just happen to live in Vegas. Coincidence? I don't think so. This was never about defense wins championships. This wasn't some casual coffee shop conversation that magically turned into a franchise-altering move. This was a calculated business decision. A move designed to shift power, maximize profits, and set the stage for something much bigger. And in the process, it shattered the Mavericks fan base. Oh, and before I forget, why would LeBron James approve this deal? Well, about 2 years ago, LeBron made his future ambitions crystal clear, saying that his ultimate goal is to own a Las Vegas NBA team. Think about that. Dallas just lost one of the greatest players in NBA history, not because of basketball, but because of money, power, and politics. And if history tells us anything, this is only the beginning. On a different note, which young NBA star is poised to carry the torch for the next decade? Over 20 years ago, Kobe took it from Michael, so who's next? Who will have that defining moment? The one where they step up, seize the spotlight, and prove they're ready to lead the league, just like Kobe did against his idol. The greatest of all time, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. If you haven't seen that game and don't know what I'm talking about, do yourself a favor, check out my full recap right here.